Okay. Good evening, students and my co-professional colleagues. Let me use this opportunity to welcome everyone to FCA July 2022 webinar forum. All right. Okay, let me just give me time to share. Please, host, please enable me to share my screen. Okay. Just a moment, please. All right. So good evening, student. My host, please, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
All right. So good evening, student. Let me use this opportunity to welcome you to FCA July 2022 webinar forum organized specifically for ICAN students. All right. So this webinar has actually been designed to help our students for this particular diet exam that we are going to be writing in November, and to also review the May Diet exam that was released last week. So FCA, as you all know, FCA is a tuition center that we have students in mind. Our goal is to see all our students recording great success in their examination. So that is one of the reasons why we have come together in FCA to organize this particular webinar forum. And we believe that this webinar forum is going to help our students and help all the participants as we go on. All right. So I would like to introduce first choice success accurate link to us, which is FCA. FCA is a professional service company that provides a range of services, which include professional lectures, such as ICAN, ACCA, etc. We also provide financial advisory services, training, business strategy, policy formulation, corporate reengineering, financial reporting, internal control and compliance, payroll management, and tax services. Okay, so that is a brief about ourselves or about FCA. So today we will be having two speakers that is going to be talking to us or advising us as a student, speakers that know everything, know the pain that we are passing through, speakers that have gone through the professional or that knows everything about ICAN exam. So join me as I introduce our first speaker, which is Ibrahim Taiwo, ACA. Now, a short introduction of Ibrahim Taiwo. Ibrahim Taiwo, he is an economist and a food technologist with over 10 years experience in lecturing professional courses. He's a director at FCA. In fact, he is a director of study. So he knows everything about when it comes to lecturing, when it comes to how to advise students, it is his job. So he's a director at FCA and is currently lecturing performance management, advanced taxation, and a public sector accounting and finance. So he is going to be talking to us this evening. He's going to be advising us as a student. He's going to be talking to us on a topic and called post-exam result review and counseling. So Ibrahim Taiwo will be taking like 35 minutes to advise us to go through with us with a post-exam result review and a counseling. So before I hand over to Ibrahim Taiwo, I would like to let our students know the rules and regulations that always govern our Zoom online class, all right? Okay, for the Zoom webinar etiquette, participants are muted. So we expect all the participants to be muted, okay? To speak, you can make use of our chat room. Yes, you can make use of our chat room, and you can also raise your hand. There is an icon on this particular Zoom class where you can raise your hand so that you will be allowed to be able to ask your question. All questions will be addressed tonight. So please, students, make use of the chat room in order for you to be able, in order for your question to be addressed. So Welcome once again to FCA, a tuition house located in Lagos. So join me as we welcome Ibrahim Taiwo. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, good evening, students. Good evening, my colleague to be. Let me say thank you very much to my co-director in FCA. I appreciate you, Mr. Ayodeji. And thank you to our chairman in person of to our chairman. Please, can you give me 2 minutes, please? Just give me 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. Please, I need to fix 1 or 2 things, please. 2 minutes, please.
So please, the speaker will be back shortly. Within 2 or 3 minutes, the speaker will join us. Thank you. Okay. If you cannot hear, I think you need to check your internet. Just check your internet connection. Let's see. Please just give us a few minutes. The speaker is going to join us shortly. apologies, students. Please, we are not taking you for granted. Just be patient with us. The speaker will join us shortly. Okay, I think the speaker is ready now. My host, please let me enable the speaker to be able to join us. Sorry, the speaker is ready. I think he's speaker is trying to something. Okay. So while we are waiting for speaker to reconnect with us, I think our country internet is actually dealing with him seriously, but be rest assured that the speaker is going to join us shortly. Okay. The two speakers that is going to be speaking with us tonight, they will be treating the agendas for this particular webinar. Okay. We have set out the agenda in our flyer that we share with us. Okay. Number one is that expert tutors tips on how to stay motivated after an unsuccessful result. We all know that it is actually very possible for someone to write exam and the exam is not successful. Okay, we do not call it failure in our tuition house because we know that it is actually another way of looking at it, that, okay, whenever you receipt the exam, you will pass it. Okay, I'm happy to tell us now that the speaker is available now. So I'm going to hand over mic to the speaker to start the meeting. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ayodeji. I'm so sorry. I think it was more of a network issue for my hand here. I appreciate. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. So let me, I'm navigating this now. Okay, thank you. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Let me open the material. Just give me 1 minute, please. Now, thank you again. Now, okay, let me quickly go straight to the point. Now, let me congratulate those of our colleagues. My name is Ibrahim Taiwo, as they are giving in the opening servo. I congratulate those of us, our students and numerous students that passed the exam, the last exam. We appreciate God. We thank God that they passed. And for those people that are having issues with 1 or 2 papers or are unable to cross to the other side, to the next level, I think we have to just tell you to keep trying. I know this diet is your diet. I hope you are getting me. I pray that this diet is your diet. So let me say this. The essence of this counseling unit is to connect our students, is to connect to our students. To most importantly, those students that have had issue in the last exam, and most importantly, those students that have been having issue prior to now, that they have been writing a paper over time and they have not been passing the paper. And those people that wrote the last exam and had issue with the last exam. We want to see what exactly is the issue? What are the problems? How can we use our classroom experience to assist you to passing this exam this time around? I guess these are the reasons why we actually cook up this for you, for our esteemed student. Now, let me say this. The first thing I will need to tell you is that you are capable of passing this exam. I'm actually directing my words to those who actually had issue in the last exam and prior to now. You are capable. You need to understand that you are capable of passing this exam. Now, when I say you are capable, it simply means that, please, I will need to put up my video to an extent. Please, let me put up the video. Maybe I had issue. So sorry, let me have the video put up. I'm so sorry. I think I had a little issue with that video on. Sorry. So that I can have this lecture. Now, sorry for putting up the video. I'm so sorry. Now, based on what I explained to you, I said, for those people that had issue in the last exam and they have been having issue before now, you can pass this exam. How do we assist you? What are those things that you need to know as far as ICAN is concerned? I think from our little experience, for our experience over time in the Okay, I'm so sorry. Now, based on our classroom experience, let us look at how we can use our experience to assist you to passing this exam this time around, because it is important that you pass this time around. Now, before I start, I will need to commence my explanations or my counseling from this. This is the outline. I will not need to bore you. I will not bore you with too much details, but I'll go straight to the point. Now I'm having my introductions. The power of brain, that's the second point. That's the second bullet there. The third one is the student's misconception about ICAN exam. Why the third one is reasons for failure in ICAN exam. Why I have the next one to be what? To be specific reasons for failure and tips on how to stay motivated after an unsuccessful result, and then tips of passing ICAN examination in one sitting. Now, let me start this way. Let me start this way from that the power of brain. Now, we need to understand that for us to pass this exam, one of the instruments that we need mostly is what? Is our brain. We need our brain to deliver the goods. We need our brain to passing this exam, because that is this is the powerhouse. Now, you need to understand that it's your ability to maximally engage your brain is very important in passing this exam because of the way ICAN is structured, the way they structured the exam. It's more of an intuition. It's more of an exam that involves your mindset, not cramming, but your ability to think out of the box and be able to provide solutions to the questions asked in the exam. And what we assist you to be able to deliver that, to be able to convince the examiner that you are worthy of that or passing that exam, is your ability to efficiently utilize your brain. And when you say utilizing your brain, let me let you know that nobody is dull. Even if you're saying that, oh, you have been failing 2, 3, 4 times, while your colleague passed it once, and you're not trying to belittle yourself or trying to have emotional disturbance because you failed 1 or 2 times. I'm telling you, you are underestimating what your brain can work and do per time. Now, that's your brain. If you can constructively utilize our brain, if you can constructively engage the brain, I'm telling you, ICAN is just a simple exam that you can walk over. I'm telling you. Now, if you look at what I post on this on the page now, I said the most powerful computer known in history is the brain. And the brain is more powerful than any intelligent machine in existence. Now look at the word, any intelligent machine in existence. That simply means that our brain is what? Is a machine. And not only machine, it's superb, more superior than any machine you can ever think of in the world. Then if you have that machine upstairs, if I have the machine upstairs, then why am I failing? What is the reason? What is the reason why I'm having a consistent failure in this exam? Why did I fail the last exam? It simply means that there is something somewhere that you are not doing right. There is something somewhere, there is something that you are not doing right as far as what the preparation of that exam. And there is likelihood that you are not constructively engaging that your brain. Are you getting me? That's one of the reasons why you think that you failed the exam. Now, it is more complex than just about anything we have ever studied, the brain. So why I'm actually starting from here is that so that you can see the power, how powerful is the brain. You can see how powerful is the brain. So it simply means that we are all having this brain, but some are using this brain constructively than the others. And that's why that is producing results for them. So that simply means that from now onward, we now want to learn how can we utilize our brain so that this diet, even if I've written the paper for 10 times, even if I've written the paper for 5 times, this diet must be my diet. I'll be able to use this brain to achieving the success. Look at this. It said, the scientists concluded that there was no difference between how large the brain of Albert Einstein, that's a famous genius, was to the brain size of average intelligence. It means that what this is just telling us that everybody is gifted. Even when we say someone is genius, if you can use the brain, you realize that you bring out the genius in what's in that your brain. We are required to efficiently convert our brain power to passing this exam. And that simply means that an ICAN student that have been having issue before now must have it at the back of the mind that this exam, we are passing it, and they are going to utilize this brain this time around to passing this exam. And for you to effectively utilize this brain, what are those things that you can do? I mean scientific wise. I'm actually from the opening salvo, I'm also a food technologist. I think I can advise in that instance about food you can eat and so on, alongside being a chartered accountant. So look at it. Some of the ways to improve our brain power are exercise. Let us avoid sedentary lifestyle. It simply means that the scientists have actually connected our exercise with our ability to speed up our brain power. So we do exercise. We also meditate. When you say meditate, you consciously engage your brain. Don't let it be that it's only when you come to the exam or to the class or to the exam board, that's when you use the brain. No, consciously engage it. Make it work consciously. Apart from using it for exam, engage it. Give yourself a task. Let your brain work. Are you getting me? With that, if you see a question in the exam, I'm telling you, your processing power will be very high. Let us be conscious in engaging our water brain. Another one is sleep well. Some of us are not having a good sleep. And scientifically, it's said 8 hours is the minimum hours you must sleep per day. I realize that we have some of our colleagues or some of our students that are actively at their workplace during the day. When they get home, they are even unable to have that 8 hours sleep, and they have connected your ability to sleep very well to your ability to use your brain constructively. Therefore, we exercise very well, we meditate very well, and we also ensure that we sleep very well. Minimum of 8 hours. It will assist our brain to be able to process very well and be able to deliver the goods for us to start. And also, we should eat well. Now, when we say eat well, we should avoid junk food, eat fatty fish, nuts, dark chocolate, etc. All these are examples of add-ons of food that would allow our brain to process very, very fast. Now, don't forget, the focus of this webinar is to be able to assist our students to be able to pass this exam. And for those people that have been having a backlog before now, I mean, when they get into this exam this time, they should be able to clear their papers. Okay, getting it. Now, the next thing I will need to quickly talk about within the next 2-3 minutes is student misconception about ICAN exam. I've heard a couple of times that a student will come to meet me and say, Mr. Taiwo, this examiner, they are not fair at all. I did all the papers, I did all the topic, all the questions, all the 5 questions I did, and I'm unable to pass. Why? I got 10, I got 5. Now, every day I hear this, and I say, these examiners are not fair. Let me tell you today, if you want to pass this next time, you first need to recalibrate and put it from your mindset that examiner is unfair. When you say they are unfair to you, what about your other colleagues that pass this exam? They will only allow you to write what? To write your number. That's the only thing they will allow you to write. That simply means that examiner is not interested in who you are. What they are interested in what you are putting down. I was privileged to lecture a student one time in advanced taxation, and the student got 97 over 100. And I called the lady. I said, come, how do you get this 97? You know what she told me? He said, I know all what they put in there. So, and I've actually practicalized in the office. So I delivered it to them. It's as if they should even give me 100. And in that same exam, I had a student that got 5. Now, between 197 and 5, what happened? Why? That we're having one having 5, and another having what, 97. Are you now saying that the examiner is unfair to that student that had 5? No, they are very fair. What you need to do is to rethink and recalibrate your system and try to focus. I get him in so that in the next exam, this exam, you'll be able to deliver. You'll be able to pass this exam. So examiner is very, very fair. I hope you're getting me. And don't forget, this examiner, who are obviously the ICAN, the institute, they understood the fact that we have a rot in our system, in our educational system in Nigeria. And they know very well that most of their students are coming from BSc, HND, and so on. And understand that if they don't checkmate them, if they don't raise the bar, they realize that rottenness we have in that educational system in Nigeria will always be shifted. They will move into the ICAN, and they will water down the quality of the work of the graduate. That is why you will always see the examiner. They will always ensure that they are very strict in managing student affairs, in the sense that when they are conducting their exam, they are always very, very strict. They're always very on point. They don't want misbehaviors. When the result is out, they give a window, a window for you to ask or call for your paper when you are not comfortable. I get me with the marks. I get me because they are fair. So from now onward, I want you to understand that the examiner is not fair. So if there is a failure, which I don't pray for again, let us first remove that ICAN from it. ICAN question for me that ICAN is fair. They are fair in their what? I mean, I've seen a couple of my colleagues and even my chairman that have actually, one time or the other, actually follow the students to call for a paper. And once, when they get into that exam, when they eventually see the paper that the student wrote, they realize that what the student even claimed that he or she put down, sometimes you will not see it in there. I guess there are a lot of things that happen that in the exam that obviously will make a student feel that will not make him to necessarily be ascribing his failure to ICAN. So let us first correct that in our mind, that ICAN is unfair. No, they are fair. They don't just want to water down the quality of the certificate. So that is very important. Now, after talking about that, then let us now go into the main thing. Now, please, all what I put here or what we put here are not what we copy from internet. No, they are not what we copy from in textbook. No, these are what we actually pen down based on our experience in class. Those things that actually make students to have issue in the exam. And in your mind, if I start listing or itemizing each of these points, one way or the other in your mind, you will know that you are guilty of one or two of them. I'm talking to those students that failed. Yes, one way or the other, you will know your mind, unless we are not sincere to yourself. I'm not going to apportion blame here. No, what we want you to do is that if you don't take care of the mistake you made in the past, I'm telling you, there is tendency for you to repeat that mistake. And I don't want that to happen. FCA don't want that to happen. That is why we have this forum. I hope you get what I'm saying now. Let us pick some of these reasons based on our classroom experience. What are those things that normally make students want to fail exam? Let's start. The first one is what? Wrong choice of tuition house. Wrong choice of tuition house. Now, don't misquote me here. I'm not here to canvass for our tuition house. No, this forum is not that. It's all about spotlighting those issues that are obviously causing issue for students, that are making students to repeat a paper over and over. Are you getting me? So that's it. Now, the first one is the wrong choice of tuition house. Let me give you an instance. Now, let's say a student that is coming from a BSc or HND that have not actually been exposed to ICAN before. And the student is now looking at, okay, I want to do ICAN exam. Now, he's not privy to how they run the tuition house. And maybe beside his house, there's an ICAN tuition house there. But he is unable to ask questions about the quality of the work of the lecturers that are in the tuition house. Unable to ask questions about how favorable the timetable of the tuition house is unable to even ask questions about the qualification of those people that are even handing the affairs of the center. And is even unable to even ask questions about the work classroom experience of those people that are the handlers of the work of the tuition house. But what he just does is just like, okay, I want to start a lecture. How much is it? 100,000. Okay, this is the money. And he start the lecture. Now, the first day, they start asking, the lecturer that's supposed to be in class, maybe 1 hour late, that is in the hold up. The second day, they said they are going to shift the timetable. The third day, they don't go to, they have issue, this, excuses now start coming in. That now will start frustrating the student. And at the end of the day, that kind of student will still go to that exam and still go and write the exam with what? With half information, and still want to pass the same way his or her colleague passed it, those who that attended other centers with quality lecturer pass. No, there is no way. So the number one problem of students in having issue, having issue as passing in this exam is what is a wrong choice of tuition house. So as you after saying this, it means that how do we handle this? It means that when next you are going to choose a tuition house, you need to ask questions. What and what are you having to offer? What's your timetable like? Can I see the lecture? How is the lecturer like? Can I view it? What's the pass rate? And so on and so forth. All these are questions that will aid you in passing the exam. That's number one. And you don't underestimate that factor. Tuition house, wrong one. 2, wrong subject combinations. Now, from our classroom experience, we realize that students that are coming into the ICAN exam, let's say for instance, a student is skill level that is to write 4 papers, PM, FR, PM, FR, CSME, and PSAP. Let's say these are the 4 papers is to write. And he's now looking at, okay, because of the workload in his office, he's unable to do the 4. He won't do the 4, he wants to do it 2-2. And the student decides to just randomly pick a paper, 2 courses out of the 4. Not considering the relationship of those courses. Take for instance, assuming the students decide to take FR and now decide to take what? PM. You want to write 2 out of those 4 I mentioned and decide to take FR and PM. I'm not saying that FR and PM is not good, but if I were to advise the student, I would say take FR and PSAP. Why? Because FR and PSAP they are having similarities. FR is having IFRS, ISA, and so on, IAS, and so on. Why PSAP is having IPSAS, International Public Sector Accounting. IPSAS. That's standard of what? Of a public sector. And the IAS, IFRS, and IPSAS, they are related. So you can what? You can transfer knowledge if you do the 2 papers. It's possible that they ask you a ratio in FR. And that ratio they ask you in FR, they can coincidentally ask the same ratio in PSAP, because the ratio is in the 2 papers. Now it means that a student that is now doing FR and doing PSAP will be better off comparatively to a student that is doing FR and PM combinations. Now that's the combinations. A student that is in final is looking at doing case study first. Maybe you want to do 2 out of the 5 papers. You now decide to pick case study and audits. Knowing fully well that case study is a combination of all other papers, including SFM, advanced tax, and so on. Now, that simply means that the student will be worse off compared to a student that decided to what? To defer the case study and probably pick maybe audits and what? An advanced tax, maybe to an extent. Can you see the combinations? So one of the major problems of students in the ICAN exam is what? Is the wrong subject combinations. So what do you do to resolve this? Assuming you are in this position. Now, this diet you want to write, try to pay attention to those combinations. If you know you are not going to write the 4 papers or the 5 papers as it were, pay attention to the combinations. So the combinations can also assist in passing the exam. It's one of the major issues that also makes students to feel like an exam. Number 3 is what? Lack of consistency in class. You see a lot of students, after they are signed up for the diet, you see them with varying excuses, different excuses. A student will tell me that because there is rain, he will not come to class. A student will tell me that he has in a public functions. While the class is on, we are in the middle of the class. Now, I'm not saying that we cannot have any reason why you will stay off lecture. Maybe probably you were sick, God forbid, or someone is sick at home, Or, these are excuses that is pardonable. But if you sign up to to write the diet and you pay for the diet, then you have to be consistent in class, because your inconsistent in class will distort your view about those subjects. There's a sequence of this subject. Let's say, for instance, you are doing FR now. When you are doing group account and some other topic, that group account is having a sequence. Immediately you miss the sequence, one or two of the sequence, then definitely you're going to have issue. I guess what I'm saying. That simply means that consistency of student is also very paramount and a major factor that is also making a student to fail the exam. In your mind now, some of you that are listening to me now, you will know in your mind that though you pay for the lecture from your sweat, but consistency, you are nowhere to be found. So how do you resolve this diet? Ensure you are consistent in class. Do your assignment. Do what is needful as well. So lack of consistency is a major one. Please be consistent. Number 4, wrong usage of phones and other electronic gadgets in class. I can say half or 50% of the class sometimes are guilty of this. Yes, because you say you come for lecture and you are being distracted with electronic gadgets. I know you want to access your phones. There are calls that will come in. Maybe you are businessman, you need to call, you receive a call per time. I mean, the alert and so on. But if you say you will come in for a lecture, you must be able to have a rule guiding your phone usage. Maybe the point that the lecturer is making at that minute when you are receiving the call will probably be the one that will be the saving grace in the exam. Who knows? Because you don't know what these guys are setting. That means that the wrong usage of phones and gadgets in class is a major factor that is causing issue in the pass rate of the student now. That simply means that if you are in this category of inability to have a rules to your phone usage, I'm telling you, please try to manage this diet. It can be the game changer. I hope you're getting me. If you are in class, put the phone on silence. You are in class, put the phone on silence. Don't distract yourself with the phone, because it's a major factor that is causing it. Number 5 is deficiency from tertiary institutions. We all know, you will agree with me, that this is a valid point. A student that is coming into PM class, performance management class, but was having a deficiency in mathematics right from secondary school. And that deficiency carried it over into university. And he escaped narrowly in university. Now he's now writing ICAN. How do you want the students to pass the exam? Because there is deficiency, and ICAN is a professional exam in which the examiner already assumed that you have a prior knowledge before you come in for the professional exam. Now, this prior knowledge, now you don't have it. How do you manage this? I was privileged to lecture a student one time, and the student was actually writing performance management. I'm telling you, I need to start telling the student of how to move a minus sign and plus sign. That if a figure moves from here to over the equal to line, if it's positive before it will turn to negative, I have to start teaching. Before I start my lecture, I have to start going through that, which I ordinarily would have learned before now. Am I blaming the student? No, I'm not blaming. But if you are in this category, what you need to do is to quickly go and speed up your knowledge from the prior paper to that paper in question. Let's say, for instance, you want to come in for performance management. I expected that student to go and pick MI in foundation. That's management information paper in foundation, and quickly go and speed up that management information. Go and read it, learn it, get information about it. That will assist you to perform very well in performance management. Now, you have to learn how to crawl before flying, because you can't fly into flying. You must first learn the basics before you do the what? You do the PM. The same thing applies to FR. You want to do FR, you don't know double entry, debit and credit. There's no way it's going to fly. So if you're in this category of deficiency in what institution, you have to look at what are the prerequisites to this particular paper. let me quickly go and speed it up. Let me get someone to explain these basics for me before what? Before taking the word in main court. That's very important for those people that are in that. The next reasons why we have failure is financial constraints. There is nothing we can do about this. We have some students that are actually trying to have money to run their life. Not to talk of running ICAN exam. I hope you get me now. Now, that kind of students, when they come to center, some of them don't have the cash to pay at once. We recognize that. Some of them are struggling to meet ends meet, to take care of themselves. Now, in that instance, how will you manage it if you have a financial constraint? That means that you need to do a lot of planning. I guess what I'm saying. You need to do a lot of planning. Planning as per your resources. You need to do it in such a way that when you target it that, okay, I'm going to do this skill level in this year. What do I need to need? What do I need to do? I need 100,000 to do. How do I plan as well? All these are water. So there is nothing we can do about it except the student in question is able to manage his resources, raise funds to take care of it. But I tell you, some students in class, they will not have the word God to listen to you in class because they have other concerns financial-wise. I get me. So that also is a major factor that also affects students, financial constraints. Now the next one is what? Anxiety, pressure from workplace. I've seen a lot of students coming to us and asking us. Okay, any questions, please? 1 minute, please. Okay. Okay. I've seen a lot of students coming to us and asking us. They said, Mr. Taiwo, they gave me a target in the office. They said I have to qualify this time. I must qualify this time. I must do this time. This exam I must pass. This is already building up anxiety. There is no way you want to be productive if you have this in place. I get what I'm saying now. So that simply means that you need to slow down. I get me. Don't allow the pressure in the office. Don't bring the pressure in the office into the classroom. Otherwise, you will not be able to get what they are saying in the classroom. I get him. I understand the pressure. You are given a target to pass. I mean, I think this normally happens to some of those people that are working in a audit firm. I get him. And some other companies, I've seen it severally that you must what? I must pass this side. If you have it in your mentality, I must pass this side, and you're not slowing down, I'm telling you, if you get into exam, that can also what? Hamper your success rate in the exam. So for those people that are in that category, please calm down. I get him now. Calm down. At least, I mean, anyway, you have passed the exam in the past before. You have passed before. Now, if someone is now putting the pressure on you, please don't allow the pressure to hamper your success. Because if you look at it very well, for an average student that is coming in newly into skill class, you will spend averagely of $250,000. Yes, I know what I'm saying. If you are coming newly as a fresh graduate in doing this exam, you are spending nothing less than $250,000 to execute it. That's $250,000. Averagely, you pay lecture of $60,000. You pay you pay your lecture fee. I mean your exam fee, maybe of $60,000 or $70,000. You need to claim exemption of $70,000. I mean that's about $190,000. You need to eat where you come. You need to transport yourself and so on. That's average of $250,000. So if you are paying this so much, then you need to calm down when you are in class and don't allow what you are facing in the office to hamper your success rate. That's very important. The next one is what? Lack of examination skills. Some of us just listen in class, but we lack examination skills. Let me tell you, the way they configure ICAN, you see, when ICAN asks you to list, and you are explaining, you are wasting time. When they ask you to itemize and you are summarizing, you are wasting time. When they ask you to give a report and you just compute there and leave there, this normally happens to those people in advanced taxation. Examiner will ask to produce a report. Let's say, for instance, petroleum profit tax. You have computed, so be it. But instead of you to convert that what you have computed into a report, you leave the report side, you just give the computations, and you are expecting to pass the exam. You are not going by the examination techniques. You must understand the techniques of what of passing ICAN exam. By paying attention to what is list, what is itemized, what is report, what is summarized, what is this, that will aid your passing of the exam so that you won't unnecessarily waste time in the exam hall. That is also very important. The next one is what is low self-esteem, emotional issues. There is nothing a tuition house can do about this. We have some students that as they are coming to the class, during the course of the diet, they lost a loved one. While some of them are having marital issues. Some of them, their husband will tell them they will not come for lecture center. Some of them are having issues with their children. These are issues that can also hamper the success of students in the exam. Now, if you have this kind of issue, there is tendency that this issue will dovetail into the esteem of the student, self-esteem of the student. Sometimes this issue can collapse the student in mid-diet. So what I would just need to tell you that I don't pray for bad things to happen, but if you find yourself in this category, what I will want you to do is that I will want you to what? I will want you to ensure that you pray very well. Pray fervently. So that, that esteem, that emotional issues, God in itself will help you to handle it. So that is also a major issue. And if you're in that category, I pray God in His infinite mercy will assist you. Thank you. The next one is lack of quiet time or inadequate preparation. You want to go for an exam. You don't have your own personal timetable. There is no personal timetable. How do you want to clear the paper? You want to rely on what they give you in class, fine, it's good. But as far as ICAN is concerned, based on our experience in class, we expect a student to have their own quiet time. When I say quiet time, that does not necessarily mean that you should have 3 hours, 4 hours a day because of your workload in your office. Your quiet time can just be 45 minutes. Now, that 45-minute quiet time now is, it suffices. So far, it is consistent. So what I want you to know is that quiet time is also very key. You have to seclude yourself and have a quiet time. And that quiet time will assist you to gather yourself to passing this exam. It will also aid your preparation. So we have some students that are in this category. Their own is to just module up the lecture midnight during the diet, and they want to go and do magic in the exam. No. There is orderliness to things. The next one is what? Overconfidence. Overconfidence. I've seen several students. I've seen many students that overconfidence is a major issue. And when I say overconfidence, what do I mean by overconfidence? Overconfidence simply means that they think that they got first class from school. And because they got first class from school, they must pass the ICAN exam by all means. Some students will even brag that I've not failed before and I will never fail ICAN. Good for you. I get me. But there are instances that ICAN in itself has humbled some students. Yes. Because they are so overconfident in themselves. I'm not saying you should not be confident, but don't overdo it. Because in overdoing, I've seen a student, I actually took a student one time. Now, in the course of taking the student, I took this time in skill level, student was actually a first class product. He came out with first class. And when he came into ICAN, he wrote the 4 papers. In fact, in that diet, in skill, he won a prize in FR. Yes, he had like 88 in FR. He won the prize. And he got 52 in performance management. Immediately he received the result. He gave me the result. He said, wow, God saved me. I would have failed this thing in my life. It would have destroyed my record that I've not failed before. And I said, you need to relax. So this one that you are saying that you have not failed before, I hope you are doing the right thing. Please, this final you are going into, please prepare very well. Now, fortunately or unfortunately for the student, when you now wait for the final, he now passed 3, he now failed 2. He now came to meet me. I said, Mr. Taiwo, I failed 2. I never failed in my life. And I told him, I saw it that time when you are talking to me, that you are overconfident. I'm not saying you are not good. You're a genius, fine. But this overconfidence, you need to manage it. And I told him, and with that, he accepted it, what I said, and he now was prepared and he now passed and he qualified. So overconfidence is also another. Another one is permutation of exam questions. Some students, before the exam, they would have, listen, before the exam, they will have determined what question and what question they are going to answer themselves before. They have set their question before the exam themselves. A student will be telling you that variance will not come. This will not come. This one is what will come based on experience. This one is what will come. And when you now get to exam, you see that one that he said they will not come will now be the number one question that will be staring him in his face. And you now get disturbed in the exam. That I thought this thing will not come. I saw transfer pricing will not come. So that simply means that as far as this ICAN is exam, if you are in this category, that you always permutate questions, you always foresee questions, and at the end of the day, when you get to exam, you don't say, I want you to desist from it. I want you to have a plain mind. Ensure you ensure coverage of all the paper, all the content. I get me. No little of everything in the content. That will give you a good chance of passing the exam. That means that permutation in exam as of exam questions, if you're in that category, please, I want you to desist from it from now. Don't permutate. Don't speculate. It is not good. Read through. I hope I get me. It's very important. The next one is self-study. Some students will say, I want to self-study. I don't want to go for lecture. So be it. Good for you. It's good that you self-study. Maybe because you think that you can read it yourself, or you think that you don't have time, you don't have the money. There are a lot of reasons which are valid. But why did they call it a professional exam? They want you to have an eye, to have the what? To have it directly from the expert. I get me. They want it, you having it directly from the expert. So that you get that information from them alongside with your reading. So that what experience you cannot gather from the textbooks, you will get it at source from the lecturers. I get me. That simply means that is the essence of what of coming for class. So, and again, it will also speed up your passing rate, because immediately you come to class to receive lecture. I mean, the rate at which you process will be different from those students that are sitting at home and self-studying. I get me. Go and look at the statistics. If you come for the lecture, I get me. There is high chances that you are passing the exam comparatively to those people that are self-studying. Now, does that mean that those people that self-study don't pass? No, because some of you will be arguing it in your mind that after all, I self-studied in last night and I passed. Let me tell you, all these papers in ICAN are connected. Audits are connected. Audit in skill, audit in final. Tax in what? In skill or foundation, tax in final. FR in skill, CR in final. PM in skill, SFM in final. Can you now see they are related? If you study in skill, and you do not do that studying very, very well, there is tendency that you have the backlash in final. That is very important. So if you are in this category, all things being equal, provided that there are no other obstacles that can prevent you from coming to class, I will strongly advise you to come to class, to receive it from the experts, so that you can increase your chances of passing the exam. That is enough. The next one is overwork or sleep, overwork or lack of sleep. Some of our students, you see them in class with their eyes bulged out. Sometimes I'll say, you are tired, you look tired. Early in the morning on Saturday, you say, sir, I work all through the night and I have to be here today. I'm telling you that if you overwork, there is what the brain can assimilate per time. You need to slow it down. You need to plan. You need to what? You need to free your space. You need to what? You need to plan. If you do more of planning, you will realize that that you are overworking yourself with that is going to affect your performance in exam, you would have handled this or tackled it headlong. So overworking or lack of sleep, please sleep. Sleep is very important to passing the exam because it will refresh you the next time. That's very important. The next one is non-availability of lecturing material. Calculator, textbook. Sometimes you get in class, in SFM class, in PM class, you see a student using phones to compute, to give us figures. I know some of you in your mind, you will know that you are guilty of this, that you are coming in for a class, for a diet, what makes you to pay that 60 or 70,000 as lecture fee should give you that impetus to be able to have a good material to write on, biros, calculator, past questions, notebooks. You must be able to have them. I hope I get what I'm saying now. That is also very important for you to what? To know. You must what? There must what? A appropriate lecture material. I get what I'm saying. So all these are the points that you must know that what? That will assist you to what? To passing the exam. So for those people that had issue in the last exam, please, I want you to take our time and look into those contents and see which one pertains to you and how do you remedy it so that in this diet you will be able to pass. I hope you're getting me. Now, all what I discussed there, I try to now cascade it down to this table. Now look at it, specific reasons for failure. What are the specific reasons for failure? Failing for the very first time. We have a student that this will be the first time they will fail. This last diet happens to be the first time they will fail. You want to ask yourself question, why did I fail? I've been passing. Why did I fail this last time? I try to simulate what exactly are the reasons why you will fail, provided that you have not been failing before now. Maybe what are the possible reasons that you can fail? Maybe overconfidence. I've talked about it. What do? Please slow down. Don't be too confident. Please, even if you know, relax. Pipe down. You will see more. Ask questions in class. Gain from the experience of the lecturer. All this will add to your confidence level, and you'll be able to do justice to the exam this side. The next one is lack of quality time to read. If you don't have a quality time to read, what do? Create the time. Create the time. If you have been struggling with time before now, please create the time. The next one, if you do self-study before in the last night and you fail, what do? Go for lecture. If you go for lecture, it will speed up your chance of your passing. The next one is permutation of questions. That is also another issue that can probably be a reason why you failed in the last exam. Whether you permutated and you were unable to pass. What do? Ensure coverage of the syllabus. The next one is emotional issues, e.g., sickness. I've seen several students, I say, I'm sick, I was sick. Okay, fine. We pray that the sickness will go. What do? Prayers. Deal with it. Deep prayers and deal with it by God's grace. The next one is skipping of classes. Maybe in the last diet, which you have not been doing before now, you skipped your major classes last diet. Maybe that was what led to your pass. Maybe one of the topics that would have amounted to you passing the exam, help to pass the exam, you skipped it and you did not revert back to it in class. With your colleague. Then maybe that's the reason. Please check out the topic you skipped. That's very important. Now, for those people that fail 2 to 3 times, maybe you have failed like 3 times, and you fail the first time, the second time, the third time. And you can say now, what are the reasons? Another one, it can probably be lack of quality time. If you don't have time, there is tendencies that will rub off on your passing rate. That will probably be the reason why you fail the first time, second time, third time. Now, you need to ask yourself, what is not taking my time out? Because if you devote your time this time, I'm telling you, you are going to pass by God's grace. Create more time. Another one is constraint of lecture materials. Whether it's possible that you don't even have a past question and you want to go and pass PM. You don't have a past question, you want to pass EFRA. I get it. You don't even have a good textbook that you can make a reference to after the class. What do? Widen your scope. Buy textbooks. That's very instructive. The next one is emotional issues. Where if you have been failing a paper maybe 2, 3 times, it's possible that you have an long-standing emotional issues, marital issues, family issues, which you have been hanging in your head. And that has been rubbing up on your passing. And you always ask yourself, where do I fail again? Why do I fail again? But you have not dealt with the major issues. And the major issues are those emotional issues. If you deal with the emotional issues, I'm telling you, this exam will be a daunting. So if there are emotional issues, pray. Prayer will deal with it. Because and also make yourself happy. Deliberate about it. Make yourself happy. You will see that it will be the game changer. The next one is self-study. Can be the reason why you have been failing. Go for lectures. Seek expert opinion. Another one is lack of interest or boredom. Sometimes you have written a paper 2 times, 3 times. Now what happened? You have been failing it. Okay? What do you need to do? Deal with it. Maybe you are bored about the paper. of the paper. You'll be doing PM all the time. First time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. What do I want to write again? Deal with it. Make yourself happy. This will what? This will assist you to passing this exam this time. Now, the next category of people are what? Those people that have failed for more than 3 times. Maybe you have failed like 7 times. I've seen someone that have failed like 10 times, like 15 times, like 12, 13 times. You now ask, what exactly are the reasons why I'm failing? What? I've been failing for the past 6, 7 times. Now, you need to be what? You need to slow down. Ask yourself a vital question. There are questions you need to, you yourself, you will be the one to ask that question inwardly. That what are those things that are contributing to this continuous failure? If you can genuinely ask yourself this diet, that what are those major reasons that are making me to want to fail? And you can what? Nip it in the board, you can identify, you can what? You can pen them down, and you are deliberate about solving them. I'm telling you, it's going to what? It's going to assist you in what? In passing this time around. I don't believe that anybody should fail. No, because you have the brain. The brain power is enough to what? To clear this paper. There's nothing so big about ICAN that you cannot clear. Take it from me. It's all about you. Deal with yourself. If you deal with yourself, I'm telling you, this exam will be a daunting exam. Now, what are the reasons why you're having a perpetual failure? The first one is lack of quality time. Create more reading time. I see some students, they will want to read, they will put earpiece in their hair, and they say they are reading. There is no way you want to argue with me. You can't do 2 things at a time and you are effective about it. You have to do one per time. I get what I'm saying now. So in your reading, imagine a student that has been failing for long. What I would expect you to do this diet is that in the corner of your room, get a table. Get your calculator, your Bible, your textbook. Put your textbook, your calculator, everything on the table. Your material, put it there. Let the place be highly illuminated. Your timetable, put it on that table. Paste it on that table. And now, in your mind, configure it in your mind that every 45 minutes or 1 hour every day, no matter how tired you are, you'll be on that table. You'll be on that chair every day. If you can endure and do it, and continuously doing it, and you reading the book, I'm telling you, that's power of consistency. You will deliver. I hope I get it. That's very important for you to know. Again, not that when you want to read, that's when you'll be looking for the chair, the table, the books, the Bible, the this, the that. That's not organization. It's very important. The next one is fatigue, boredom, low self-esteem. We have some of us, because of the fact that we have been failing over time, the self-esteem issue, the esteem issue is already low. We're already been battered. We have a good news for you today. If you can deal with it, you can believe, you can do what makes you happy. Because happiness is having a correlation with what we're passing. If you can deliberate on working on yourself and being happy and being consistent in your reading, I'm telling you, that fatigue, boredomness, moreover, what's even about big deal? You have been to university. You have passed severally. Then why is it ICAN? Why are you failing severally? Please deal with yourself. Make yourself happy. Go to places that you like. Eat what you like. Do what you like. Make your deliberate about happiness. You will see that it will turn it will be a magic. The next one is lack of the understanding of the core of the subject. From my classroom experience, I realized that what normally makes students to fail paper in what consistently is the fact that the core of that paper, they don't know it. Yes, they just know that this SFM is cost of capital, portfolio theory, international standard, investment decision, this dividend policy. They know that, but the core of that SFM, they don't even know. What is the core? What is the germane thing you need to know about SFM? SFM is all about financing, investment, decision making. What is the financing angle of it? What is the investment angle of it? What is the decision making angle of it? What is even cost of capital? What is the practical meaning of it? Can I relate it to practical? Can you see the way I'm picking it now? It's not different from you just taking a textbook or a note and you just cramming it and you go into the exam. Examiner will know because those guys are experts. So therefore, one of the things that normally make a consistent failure of a student, most importantly at the last level, at the final level, and sometimes at PM and FR level, is what is lack of understanding of the course. So what do you need to do? Start afresh. Assume that you don't know anything, and now pick that paper which you have consistently failed. Pick it afresh. You will see that it will do the math. Do it as if you have not learned it before. Listen to the class as if you have not been to class before. Read the textbook as if you have not read the textbook. You will see that you do the math. The next one is what? You are self-studying. Go for lecture. Lack of examination technique. Learn the technique of answering exam questions. Is very important. Now, before I round up, because I know my colleague are also having one or two things to say, tips on how to stay motivated after an unsuccessful exam. Let's say, for instance, in this last exam, there are issues. You failed the paper. I'm not happy about it. I pray this next time you are going to pass it. Even if you have done the paper like 4 or 5 or 7 or 10 times before, I know this time around, like also you are going to pass. What are the tips on staying motivated after an unsuccessful exam? The number one is take time to heal emotionally. Don't carry the backlog of your failure, the emotional trauma that you have failed 5, 7 times. Don't let it affect what you are doing now. I get it. Take time to heal. Immediately result came out, what do you need to do? Try to seclude yourself. Try to go to places, meditate, do what makes you happy. I get me. Take time to heal up. I get me. So if you come into class, you will be fresh. I get me. You will have. I once had, when I was writing this exam, because at the time I was writing this, I was also writing a what, and I was in an HND program for technology. Now I now get the point. I was frustrated at the point that I was having a kind of stress-related sickness, that I was too stressed because of ICAN exam. And I went to meet a doctor that time. The doctor happened to be in the Keja. They call the hospital, maybe house of care. When I got in there, immediately I got into that doctor's chamber office. That doctor just said, "Mr. Boy, what exactly is your problem? You look stressed." And I told him, "I'm writing ICAN exam and I'm writing school exam." He now told me something. And I said, "My daughter is also writing this exam. But whenever my daughter failed the exam, you know what my daughter would do? She will go and pick a piano, because she's the chorister in the church. She is the piano. She knows how to play piano. She will play piano. She will play to the point that she was to get happy. She gets elevated again. Then she goes back to class to start all over again." That's how the lady unwind. When the doctor told me, he said, "When next you have an issue, what you have, you fail. I don't pay, you fail. Try to unwind. Try to heal up." So emotional, please try to heal up. It's very important. Next one, remind yourself that there is no success without failure. I don't need to overflog that. Learn from your mistakes. Now, the problem we always have is this. Let me have someone is asking a question. Yes, thank you. Now, learn from your mistakes. The problem we always have with our students is that a student that fails now will not look at what are the reasons why he failed. No. Majority of the students will want to do it again and again without looking back at what actually led to what to failing. So a student that fails should look back and look at what are the reasons why you why you failed. What are the mistakes you made in the exam? So that in the next exam, you will not make the mistake again. You imagine a student that is going into the exam, and in the first, as writing the exam, the first questions, he used like 1.5 hours to do the first question, and you're still writing 5. And in pencil, he just did only 2 out of 5, and he failed. The next diet again, he repeated the same thing. I'm telling you from experience. The next diet again, he started from that question 1 that he did not know again. He repeated the same and he failed again. That student, will you say that student have learned from his mistake? No. Because if you to learn the mistake, how do you want to pass? Therefore, I pray that you are going to pass this diet. If you are in this category, please, if you want to pass this diet, learn from your mistakes. Create a positive mindset that can also motivate you to going into classes now. A positive mindset that I can do it attitude. I can do it. If I, Ibrahim Taiwo, can do food technology economics, and also a chartered accountant, even from ATS, it simply means that you're an accounting graduate. You can do it more than I do. So there is no reason why you should fail. Have a positive mindset. It's a game changer. The next one is work from your commitment, not your emotion. Don't let your emotion drive you. If you allow your emotion, your failure to drive your performance this time, is what you are calling for another problem. Let your commitment to the classwork, let it be the one that will drive you now. And don't let your emotion drives you now. Use your mistake to master your heart. The mistake, I've explained that before. Work from your commitment, not your emotion. Yeah. Rehearse your past success. You have passed before. You can look into that. You can remember that. Try to bring that into play. That what's the feeling like when you passed the other time? When you passed in school, when you got your A's, what was the feeling like? Now try to rehearse the feeling. That feeling, if you bring it to bear, it will also rub off on your performance this time. I'm telling you, because the feeling of passing will still come back. Rehearse the past success. Mistakes are not natural. Don't pity them. One way or the other, we have all made mistakes. Myself, I've made mistakes. My chairman also must have made mistakes in the past. But if you make mistakes, don't stay there. You have to move. I get it. Because mistakes are natural. Don't pity them. They are part of life. The next thing is re-educate and plan for the best. Please, re-educate yourself. Learn new things. Even in the PM, in the SFM, in the FR, in the CL, in the advanced tax, in the MI, in the FA, in the audit, advanced audit, CSME, PSAF, all these, learn new things. Your brain can pick it. Just believe. We educate and plan for the best and expect the best result. It's one thing that you have worked, and it's one thing you are having a negative thought. If you are having a negative thought, you're already affecting your performance. If you have done all what you think you can do per time to succeed, then have a positive mindset. Expect that you are going to pass. And this time around, you are going to pass. By God's grace. Tips of passing ICAN exam in one sitting. If you want to pass the ICAN exam in one sitting, let me quickly have the next 2 minutes. I'll log off. Thank you. How do you pass the ICAN exam in one sitting? If you are the one that is just coming on board newly, a new student, maybe from BSc HND or ATS, you want to pass the ICAN exam in one sitting. What are those things that are actually pendant? The first one, I would like to classify the tips into two parts. The first one, before the exam tips. The second one is during the what? During the exam tips. What are the before the exam? Before you go in for the exam, what are the tips you must equip yourself with for them? Now, this embraces all you need to do before the exam that will aid your passing the exam in one sitting. Please, if I say this is for the new entrants, that does not mean that those people that have been failing or had issue with their paper in the last exam cannot also tap into this. You can also tap into this to see your success. Now, the first one is have a good choice of tuition house. I've said it. I don't need to plug that. The second one, make a decision of whether you are writing all papers at the level or you are splitting it after considering all of your other commitments. Students will always have issues of, should I write the 4? Should I write 1? Should I write 2? You must first make that decision by considering your commitment. You will be the one to know your commitment in your office. When you know that you have a lot workload in the office, you will chunk it down and do 2 out of 4, possibly. But if you have all the time in the world, do the 4. It's possible. I get what I'm saying now. So that decision is you. Please, you have to make the decision if you really want to pass once. The third one is seek expert advice on possible subject combinations. I've explained that initially. You must seek a professional advice in what subject are you combining, provided you are not doing the 4 article. The number next is get your entire lecture material ready. If you are going for class tomorrow, get your materials ready. Don't get to class with jotter. Get 2 biros, get your past questions and textbooks, and your calculator. It's very important. This is an accounting class. Calculator is very, don't use phones. The next one is ensure consistency in class, fully participate. I've explained that before. Seek clarification in class when you are confused. Ask questions. Ask intelligent questions in class. Don't let the class go off before you want. No, don't let them close off the class before you ask questions. If you need to ask the question, ask it, clarify. Don't add it together and say you ask in the future. No. Do your assignments. Use past questions. Some of you, they'll give you assignment. You don't even do it. Some of your lecturers will give you assignments. You say it's too much. Are you getting it? So that's also a major issue. Because you don't know, it's possible that it's from that assignment that you're going to see your question. Look at the last exam. FCA SFM questions. Number one question last exam was actually a mock question. It was a question they solved in class. Imagine the student refused to do the mock, or were not in class when they are doing it, and now enter the exam. How will he, if you see the question, you'll be so straight to you. That is why assignment is key. Another one, develop a personal timetable. That is very instructive. Attempt the mock question. Some of us, you know in yourself that you don't attempt more questions. Your mock questions, you say, we go and do it in the exam. Please do the mock. The mock is to test you whether you have actually prepared for the exam or not. Those are the things you need to do before the exam. But what do you need to do if you want to pass once in the exam hall? That's during the exam tips. Do not forget the following tips when you are going for the exam. Number one, ensure adequate, this is the last part, please. Ensure adequate revision of the content of the syllabus. Your notes, the past question, before the exam, you must ensure that you adequately revise what you have been taught. Don't just say you will go and do it in class by God's grace. The grace is for everybody. But if you don't read, there's tendency that you will not pass. So if you have the grace, you pray, then you must do the work. Let's do the work, not just the talk. The second one is what? Try to know the various exam techniques. I explained that initially, that what is the meaning of list, itemize, summarize, write a report. All these are germane to ICAN exam. An examiner is always very on point when they want to deal with students using this. That is very instructive. Number C is what? Get the ICAN exam guidelines. The do's and don'ts before going to the exam. There was a time a student came to me and said, Mr. Taiwo, in the exam, the examiner asked me to stand up because I was writing a paper, I was writing something on my question paper, and I stood up for 45 minutes, for 1 hour, and they wasted my time. Why? Because that student refused to what? To look at what? The student refused to look at what? The student refused to look at what? To look at the do's and don'ts of ICAN. Why do you have to go and write something on the question paper on the docket? There's no way they will not penalize. That already will make you to fail. I don't pray that we're going to fail. By God's grace, this diet, we are going to pass this exam. This diet is going to be the success that you have never experienced before. But if you want to achieve that, please pay attention to all these things. Get the ICAN exam guidelines, the do's and don'ts before going for the exam. They said don't bring a wristwatch. Why are you bringing wristwatch this time? They only have wristwatch. They only have watch today. If you bring that, it can be an issue. Study the pattern of the questions and the time allocations. Don't waste time. Use time efficiently, and so on and so forth. So at this point, I will need to thank you. Please, you can read others. Start your solution with the simplest one. Don't start from the difficult one. And ensure that you answer the exact number of questions. Don't just say, I will do 3. And the examiner says you should do what? You should do 5. Do the 5. Don't leave one out. Even if you don't know, attempt it. That is what required. Now, with all this, I believe that if you can go through this one by one, these are not a textbook information. These are classroom experience. If you can go through one and the one that is applied to you, try to identify it and try to make use of it. And try to correct it. I'm telling you, if you are going in for this exam, I'm telling you, you are going to pass this exam by God's grace. I wish you guys the very best. Thank you for having me. And I pray that this exam that you are going into this time around is going to be a success by God's grace. Amen. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Wow. Wow. What
Thank you,
an eyes opener.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Taiwo, Ibrahim, thank you.
Yes.
We really appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
We know that you have us in mind. I know that student success has been your passion. We know that. Sir. So thank you very much. God bless you. I'm sure that
thank you, sir.
Students might drop one or two questions as we move to the second speaker. So please, I will advise that you stay on so that if there is any question that you need to address, we call you to address that. So thank you very much and God bless you. So students, I'm very sure that we are loaded. We are loaded. I'm sure of that. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, allow me to go to the second speaker that we have for us tonight. Yeah, and the second speaker that is going to be talking to us tonight is our chairman, the chairman of FCA. I called him personally, I called him chairman. You called him Ayomi. I know that is the name that most students called him. So me, I called him chairman. So Ayomi Oladokun is an ACA, a professional colleague. He has over 7 years experience in finance, audit, internal control, and risk management. He has a background in banking and finance, and he is a member of the Institute of a Chartered Accountant of Nigeria. He's a mentor, we all know that, and is currently lecturing corporate reporting, financial reporting, and is lovely called King of Case Study. So join me as we welcome Ayomi to take us in the next 20 minutes, and as he's going to be discussing with us on the tips on passing ICAN exam at one sitting. So Mr. Ayomi, you have the mic. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good to have you guys here. Thank you for the organizer. Thank you so much for signing on. And for our very first speaker, Director of Study at SC, thanks so much for that powerful presentation. And as it is, I don't even know what to say again because he has actually captured every details, when it comes to passing ICAN exams, preparing for the exams, as it were. But let me just see, maybe I can try to add one or two things to what God has used him to bless us with tonight. So before we conclude the message this evening. So thank you for joining us. And I hope we have learned one or two things, okay? Well, let's see. I have this for you. Every student that sat for any exam at any level expect to pass. Yeah, and that's the truth. So even if you are not actually written well in that exam, one way or the other, you keep having faith that you have to pass. So that's why it's always painful, even if you didn't pass eventually, okay? So whether you wrote the common entrance exams, WAEC or NECO exams, even school exams, knowing fully well that you might not have prepared very well, you expect to pass. Okay, so everybody really expects to pass. So, seeing failure in that particular exams, seem to be non-welcoming. So try to be emotional about it, to cry and all of that. Okay, so but that's the truth. So you expect to pass because no one wants to actually write an exam and fail. So but basically, if you really follow through the first paper, what you said, you could see, reasons why students fail exam. But in my head, I think no matter whether you prepare or not, you expect to pass. Then it is more painful if you really prepare well, or you think you are prepared well, your energy, your resources, and all of that, and obviously you are not still able to pass, then it becomes a serious issue. Then I want us to look at something. Let's look at this result. Now you can imagine, we are doing post-exam results routine. So just imagine you open up your results and you find something like this. You're going to do a lot of screening, right? Screaming. Okay, or you're just imagining this is your result. ICAN for exam. And this is one sitting, right? Okay, now, just like my prof said earlier, I've seen students complaining, how do I have 5, how do I have 17, 20, upon everything I wrote, so many complaints up and down. Okay, we are not here to say, or to defend ICAN, to say probably their marking system is perfect. No, that's not the issue, but this is the issue. So anytime I hear those complaints, you know what I say? Then I open up these results. This is just last exam's results. Now look at corporate strategic management, 96. So do you really think the examiner can just put up 96 without this person writing fantastic stuff over there? It's not possible. They can't put up 96. Just 4 marks before 100. It's not possible. So if they put 5 or they put 10 or you saw 10 or they say you scored 17, then is it really just there? The essence of this program is to make sure that you pass the next exam. Okay, so we're not really trying to, put a blame on anyone, whether you or ICAN, or, so to speak. But you really need to be aware of what could be responsible, for you to fail the last time. Okay, so I don't think, I've seen someone that had 5 in PM. And when the person goes, I tried, I did this, I did, and I said, you don't know that course. That's the truth. You don't know it. If you know you can't have 5, you have maybe 40 something, I've said 48, 49, yeah, just in the, a little push. All right. So, and you see, those students cry and all of that. So I have to say, see, you don't know it. You have to sit down and try to know the course. Then the subsequent diet, the person has 77. I said, did you see the difference now? Okay. So it's not, and so we're not saying, the marking system is quite perfect, but in my head, because of my experience, personal experiences with ICAN exams, I know, because in the exam, when I wrote exams, I calculate the marks, so I know already. If I've written wrong stuffs, you will know really, okay? Then if it is calculation-based paper, you can actually know the procedures. We are writing wrong numbers, anxiety in exams. Okay, overconfidence, like he has mentioned earlier. But the truth is, you really need to, mirror yourself, and that's what I want to discuss now, right? You need to mirror yourself if you want to really pass this exam. Number one, you need to realize that ICAN exams is not a school exam, especially if it's your first time of writing, or you've been writing, you've not recorded a pass, or you've been passing, you're not failing. It's not a school exam. Like you said earlier, if you do your HND program or BSc program, a lot of strike, let's say, like I normally say, you have 12 topics to cover. Maybe your advanced financial accounting in school, 12, right? You couldn't cover, maybe you cover, let's say 7 out of 12 topics because of strike, okay, or one reason or the other, the calendar was too short. Then out of 7 topics that were covered in school, your lecturer will give you AOC. You say, go and read 4 topics for exams, okay? And that your exams is maybe over 70. You have CA tests already over 30. And most likely you've had about 20 or 25, around your CA. So you already have 25 over, over 100. So you need to go and do that exam is probably have another 30 or 40, then you have a pass mark. So that's school exam. Then now you're on a professional level where the lecturers are different from the examiner, even the marker. Okay, there was no CA, there's nothing like CA test. There is no AOC, you know, student asking for AOC. Oh, that's fine. Probably the Spirit of God is telling us actually. But then the reality is all of these are not really present when it comes to ICAN exams. So that's reality. So this is already school exam. And like you said earlier, you are putting up your number over there. So nobody even knows your name. Okay, unlike school that, you know, maybe your matric number and your name is, you know, directly opposite each other, they already know. So probably when they are marking your paper, they can give you extra 10 marks or so. And even in school, sometimes you don't even do tests. They give you assignment, just go and do it. All of you have extra 10 marks. All right. So all of these things are reality. And like you said earlier, you know, like say, I said everything, so I'm just trying to add. Like you said earlier, yeah, I've seen some of my common friends that come up with first class in school. All right, writing ICAN for the first time in field, you have to run to the UK to do master. So that's it, because it's a professional exam. So really, ICAN is going to humble you. And I've also seen people that never fill the paper at once, never. Okay, so all this boils down to your being aware of what is required about this paper, and that's key. Then, secondly, what works for me, what works for him may not work for me. If somebody is telling you, oh, I used this textbook for 3 weeks to the exam and I passed, and you want to adopt that method, you're on your own, you can't. So you need to mirror and understand what works for you, okay? Some you have to go to class, whether you like it or not. You can't do self-study, and some can do self-study, but majority can't do self-study. So what works for you? You need to find out. You know, when you're in school or when in school, you see someone that will not even come to class. A few weeks to the exam, just pick up, you know, do photocopy and all of that week and go into that exam and pass. A lot of people also do that, or some people, you know, do that in ICAN exams, but it may not work for you. Some are good at calculation, some are good at theory. So that's why the power of course combination is key. I think you mentioned it earlier. Okay, so if you know you are very good at computations, then you start with computations first. You can combine computation with one theoretical, all right? So you need to understand perfectly what works for you, okay? You don't join the bad wagon. Some will not read until few weeks to the exam, they now start doing night reading back to back. Some, it doesn't work for them. I remember when I was in school, myself and my roommates, we went to study. So we give ourselves 3 hours to study, you know, some topics. And I finished those topics in 1 hour, 30 minutes. Then I was done. Then he was still reading. And he asked me, he said, "You're not reading again." I said, "I was done." He said, "Are you serious?" Naturally, you're supposed to spend 3 hours, you know? And I said, "Yeah, you can ask me any question. I'm going to answer you." So, and he asked me and I answered. So when we go back, I said, "How come you read for 1.5 hours and it has to take me 3 hours to read?" I said, "It is because of the way we are wired. Our brains are different, okay? Some are slow learners, and you need to realize that if you are one, okay? That's a problem, really. And some are fast learners. Some, their brain is like machine. If it's hyperactive, all right? And for example, myself, personal self, I lecture people topics that I didn't receive lectures for when I was in school. They are the one in the class. Probably I've gone for, maybe I traveled or I've gone for, you know, all this crusade and all of that. Then I come by, just do the photocopy, I read. If people in class, I lecture them, and I was on there. I didn't receive the lecture. So we are different, really. So that's why you need to understand what works for you. So, but the thing is this, it took 3 hours for him to get to my level, but it took me 1.5 hours. But we are the same level at the end of the day. So that's the truth. We are the same level. So sometimes it might take you longer time to understand, whereas it takes some other people shorter time. So you need to understand that. So if it's going to take you longer time, that means you need to start your own preparation earlier than any other person. So that's why I say you don't join the bad one. You don't say, oh, we have, yeah, it's fine to have reading partners, reading groups and all of that, but still need to track back and say what really works for me. So what works for him may not really work for B. Some can read directly from the textbooks, some cannot. As brilliant as I am, I can't read directly from the textbooks. I have to rewrite it with my own handwriting to my notes, and that works for me. It goes straight into my memory. I can quote it word for word, verbatim. And some cannot do that. Some can read directly from the textbooks. When they get to the exam, they can, recover all those stuff. They can remember, and some they will be lost. So you need to sit down and and know what really works for you. And sometimes some people assimilate well in the morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evening, some at night. Me, I have never read at night. Even for ICAN, I didn't read at night. ICAN can never take my sleep, never. But it may take your own sleep because you assimilate better at night. I can't read in the morning. I know if I decide to read in the morning, it's like a sleeping tablet. I will sleep. It's me as if I have not slept for 5 days. I can't read in the morning. But when it comes to evening, till like maybe 11 p.m., 12 p.m., I can. I'm super active. My brain is as if it's opened. So know what works for you. There's no time. Let's move on. Understand the language of each paper. I think lately this is what most students fail to realize. Okay? They fail to understand that each paper has their own language. I think somebody called me a couple of days ago that she has been failing audit and all of that. I told her, I said, you see, you need to know that audit has language. You can't use English to answer all these questions, English language. No, there are terminologies for each paper. You need to go and learn it. When it comes to accounting standards, for example, there are the terminologies. They will tell you recognition criteria. It was probable that future economic benefits will flow. And you get to the exam, you say it was impossible. You're on your own. Okay, you're on your own already. Because like you said, experts are the one marking these papers. Okay, so they know whether you know it or not. I don't really need to be all perfect in our exams. They just wanted to show some level of competencies. Okay, so each paper has their own language. You need to learn it. Let me give you my personal example. I remember when I wrote advanced taxation. I finished a 3-hour paper in 1 hour, 25 minutes. Yes, not 2 hours. 1 hour, 25 minutes. I was done. It hurt. When I was done, I have to check whether it's not taxation paper they gave me, whether it's really advanced, because I don't know what happened. I was done. I have to sleep in that exam. I slept for 1 hour. Then the examiner came to wake, the invigilator came to wake me up and said, what happened? I said, I don't know, but I'm done. He checked my paper. He was flipping over, and my paper was so scanty. Like, even me, I was shocked that was going. But I now went back again. Look at those questions. Look at my answers. I was like, well, I have done what they asked me to do. Just like they said, when they said briefly, briefly itemize, I itemized, explain, I explained, write report, I wrote report. I was hitting the point. It's not the volume, it's the quality. When the result came out, I think I had 80 something. And it was so scanty. One hour, 25 minutes, because I understood the language of that paper. So it's not about the quality. You took extra speed. That's not the issue. So the issue is what you're writing. Is it really making sense? Are you really speaking the language of this paper? If you're writing audit, if you're writing maybe taxation, SFN, they are asking to computer PV, for example. Did you list? I was privy to see what's it called, the marking scheme. I realized that the examiner loaded a lot of marks on assumptions. And most of them would have computed NPV. They say, hey, Mushaika and Power, I've done ICAN. Meanwhile, you didn't stick to assumptions. For example, relevant cash flows were used, future that relates to the future. Okay, some costs is relevant, depreciation is irrelevant. The number of years was 3 years for the project. Appropriate cost of capital, is it nominal or real? All those. It looks like jargons, but that's what they are looking for. So it's not all about those computations when it comes to SFN. But what are the assumptions that you have used? Even if a calculation-based paper, you realize that most students, concentrate more on the calculation side. They forgot the theoreticals. On getting to the exam, even a composite question is theoretical, and they are lost already. So that's why it's important that permutation sometimes can be killing. And you have to just have an idea of the whole syllabus content. So you need to also understand the language of each paper. You can't be speaking English, answering, some of those exams. So it's very key, right? Then mixing up taking lectures with studying, they are two different things. I received lecture and I failed. That's not the point. Did you really study? Like I always say, that's why if you are very conversant with me and the system of FCA, I cannot keep my students in class 2 weeks to the exam. Never. I must release them minimum 4 weeks to the exam. You need to go and study. You need to go and study. They are two different things. You can't go, you see, when you come to lecture is to speed up your understanding when you have personal study. That's why you need to come to class. Because the experts, the tutors, they have real life experiences. They've been lecturing, diet in, diet out. They're able to create real life scenarios to aid your understanding, so that when you go back to do self-study, you are able to understand better and speedily. Okay? So don't mix it up. I took lectures. No. Even if you are taking lectures, even the right lecture, like he mentioned earlier. Okay, so we need to understand that they are two different. You are just piling up lectures. You don't have time to read. Like I will encourage my students to say, what you have taught today or what you have learned today, even if it is 10 minutes, that same day before you sleep, pick it up and just go through it. It's going somewhere in your memory. You can't just be receiving lecture. You don't have time to work, do some worked examples by yourself. You don't know what some students also do when they study. Maybe they are doing calculation-based question. When they are stopped, they go and look at the answer. Oh, okay, they look at the answer. They come back. They start solving. They are stopped again. They go and look at the answer. Then they proceed. Then they will now finish. They say they've known. You don't know it. You need to start all over. And make sure you're able to solve that question completely without the aid of the answer. Because when you get into that exam, you can't call a friend, really. And you can't do 50-50. You can't call a friend, right? You can't do 50-50. And you can't walk away. You can't walk away. If you remember the energy, the resources, the time, the money, you have spent on this particular exam, you want to walk away, you can't. Even if you want to walk away, I won't allow you, right? Then, don't mix it up, really. So lectures and studying, they are two different things, right? Then how do I prepare well? So that could be what comes to your mind. Let me tell you something here. ICAN expectation differs for each level. I have been privy of opportunity, to sit with the chief examiner. At least I've sat with the chief examiner for SFN, for CR, corporate reporting, and for case study, really, right? So I have seen the mindset, the way they mark. I've seen the marking scheme. I remember the chief examiner for CR was telling me that if for foundation students, if you are writing, because they are foundation, there are so many things they are allowed to pass at that level, okay? Because they are just coming almost, they don't even have accounting background and all of that. So there are so many things they are allowed to pass. Once they see that, they have an idea, they just, even though it might not be 100% in compliance with the marking scheme, so they allow them to fly. Then when it comes to skills level, they also allow certain things to pass, but not all things, unlike foundation, okay? So once they see that, they still have some idea, they are allowed to pass. So that's why you see some people, pass foundation, pass skills level, even PM, now getting to professional level is a serious thing and is a different thing. But at the professional level, I can you, they don't care. Because that's professional, like they're already releasing you to the world that you are chartered. So you have to really prove to them at that level. So you can't write the way you wrote your skills level. No, it differs. So you have to present your answers as a professional, like a perfectionist. So you can't just go in there. You see, forget the people that will tell you, and for example, somebody was saying, this last exam, case study, I barely wrote 3 pages and I passed. Forget those also. Go and check that 3 pages. It is quality. And you now say, hey, I mean, I wrote 10 pages. I did not pass. They said I got 15. That's not the issue. It is the quality. That's what I'm going to tell them. So it's not about the length. It's the quality. Your presentation, you are as good as a perfectionist when it comes to professional level. So you need to understand, okay, that ICAN expectation differs for each level. I'm not saying they are very foundation, don't read well. Don't get me wrong, right? Or at skill level, you still need to prepare, okay? But the issue now is you need to understand that the expectation differs. So if you have been writing a particular course over and over, you need to really reflect and mirror yourself, okay? And like he said, most students has, you know, a lot of misconceptions about ICAN, okay? I can't want to fail people. I can't want to do this. No way. I don't fail anybody. So are you telling me you write the correct thing, just like the result I showed you, and you had 70, they will not give you 40 something or 15 or 20, except village people are working. It's not possible. That's the truth. It's not. So, but if you feel that, then you might also need to deal with it spiritually, right? And probably do some deliverance and all of that, because you know we can't really downplay that. All right. So that's the truth. So, but the bottom line, or what you need to realize is, okay, let me give you some example. For example, case study. I've seen a lot of complaints. I wrote well, I did this, you know, I'll say, okay, you know what? Can you draft a report? Send to me, let me review. Even before we know the next line of action. And they draft report and send to me. Maybe they said they score 20, Abby. In my mind, I'm like, I'm even the examiner, even that 20 is too much. It should be around 7.5. Seriously, no jokes. When I read it, but obviously, I wouldn't want to show that. I just call the person, okay, put the person up on Zoom. Where upload the report. Yeah, let's start reviewing. We'll now start reviewing line by line. By the time I talk for about 5 to 10 minutes, the person will say, yes, I now admitted that I failed. I said, did you see that? So it's not really ICAN. So what I normally say is, let us mirror ourselves first. Let us do the right thing, okay? Put it up there in that exam, and let's see what happens, okay? So you have to really understand what works for you. Don't forget, how do you really prepare well? Some people will say, no, we still have time. This is July. I just started July. Okay, August is still there. By August, no, September is still there. Okay, I'll start fully in October. Before you know it, exam is tomorrow. So know what works for you. Some people need long-term planning, long time to plan. Some shorter time. Okay, let me say this. I have a friend now. The guy is chartered now. I remember he came to FCA. We normally do intensive revision class for I think 4 weekends. So he came. He didn't read at all before that time, and he came. So he did effort and he passed. So now told me, said he's going to do the same for PM. I cautioned him. I said you can't. That's why you need to understand the requirements of each course. Not everybody has the brain for PM. Not everybody, but you must pass that exam. That's why you don't see management accountants, everywhere. They are not popular, and you can only see them in manufacturing sector. How many people even have SEMA? Okay, not everybody, and some are gifted. Little. That's why most people are in financial accounting side, auditor, taxes, stuff like that. Okay, and I said you can't do that for peers. I will do it. Then he came again. After failing like 3 times, now I said, okay, just like Prof said, okay, let me now come for a regular class. Now came for full class before he passed. Then he learned that lesson, took it to professional, and was able to pass once. Okay, so that's the truth. That's it. And you see some people that 3 weeks, they come 4 weeks and they pass. So it depends. You see, that's why what works, like I said earlier, what works for A may not work for B. So you just need to be more, strategic. ICAN is strategy actually. That's why you need to come to class. Because in class, for example, if I lecture CR, I'll tell you what the examiner will test and what they will not test. In fact, most time I will even say, if they test this one, come and collect my 1 month salary. They won't test it. And you keep reading that. They know what they are looking for. And even if they test this particular area or this question, there are ways to answer. And I will say, okay, we'll look at the board. This is exactly the way I'm going to present to the examiner. Because I've seen the marking scheme a couple of times. So I know where the marks are. If they say, what is the accounting treatment, and you're not showing journal entries, you're on your own. That journal is where they loaded the marks. So that's the issue. Okay? So you need to understand all of this. So it's going to really help you, to prepare well. So let me do some key takeaways because I can talk to tomorrow, but I don't want to do that because we are starting lectures tomorrow, really. So key takeaway, I don't have much to say here. So let me just say, nobody's a dullard. Read, and read. Thank you for your time.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, and Shaman. Thank you, our Hayomi. Thank you for this particular eyes opener. I want to believe that we have gained a lot of things and we are all ready for November diet exam. And I believe that the students are ready for the November diet exam. You know, student, FCA, at FCA, your success is our priority. Your success is our priority. Without you, there is no FCA. Students are not only our key stakeholders, they are our main and our all important stakeholders. So we love you. We want you to record success. And we all know that FCA has been recording a significant pass rate over the past diet, but this November diet that we want to write now, we believe that the pass rate is going to be massive. And we believe that every one of you that you are planning to write this particular diet, definitely success is very close to you and every one of us is going to be successful. Thank you very much. So I want to use this opportunity to let you know what we have for you, this diet. FCA is going to be kickstarting November diet by tomorrow. And as you can see from the screen, this is our timetable that we have for this November diet. Look at the timetable very well. Look at what worked for you and let us meet tomorrow at the FCA K2 Center. Yes, K2 Mind 12 Center. The address is there. And you can also make use of the contact and the telephone number that is on our flyer in case you do not know how to locate FCA. Okay, our lecture starts from 7 a.m. Definitely you will meet somebody there. We are kickstarting tomorrow. Lecture is starting tomorrow. We are not a tuition house that first week they do not do lecture. Lecture is starting fully tomorrow, so we'll be expecting you. So thank you, and God bless you. So if you have questions, let's check our chat button. I want to believe that all the questions in our chat button has been attended to, and so all the question has been attended to. Yes, that all the question has been attended to. So thank you very much. We love you, and we are expecting you tomorrow. All right, I think somebody is sending. Okay, please, when is online class coming up? For many of us are not in Lagos. All right, we are actually aware that FCA, all our students, they are cut across, Nigeria. So we are planning for how we are going to undo the online lecture, this diet, but at appropriate time, we shall communicate to you, the management of FCA shall communicate to you what we will be doing as regards to the online lecture. Okay. So I don't think there is any question again. All right. So to my chairman, I want to believe that everything has been addressed. So please, if you are not on our Telegram, please make sure you join our Telegram, because I can bet it that there is going to be a free lecture via Telegram this diet. So if you are not on our Telegram, maybe you are just only on our WhatsApp, please do yourself a favor by joining our Telegram class, all right? And then if you have any challenges, if you have any question that you want to ask, you can direct the question on our WhatsApp to the admin of each of our WhatsApp class, and then everything is going to be addressed. So thank you, and God bless you. Okay. Another question, how true is it that if you have written ICAN for more than 10 years, your studentship will be terminated? Okay. Let me allow Sherman to address this particular question.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Let me quickly address that.
Okay.
Your studentship will not be terminated if you have attended ICAN for 10 years. What the 10-year rule is saying is, when you get to professional level, you must qualify within 10 diets, okay, from your first diet that you got credit. So say, for example, you wrote May for the first time, you wrote professional exams in May 2022 for the first time, and you did not pass, it will not start counting. So that 10 diet rule will start counting from the diet you got your first credit, okay? So there is nothing like, okay, it was there previously actually, but it has been abolished to say after 10 years and you are not qualified, then they terminate your studentship. You know, that has been abolished. So what we have now is you must qualify once you get to the professional level within 10 diets, and that's 5 years. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining. So we need to hang up now. Thank you for all your messages. All right. So we're going to see you in the class. And like my prof has said, we're going to also hold free classes on Telegram. All right. And the online class will announce at the appropriate time. But obviously, you don't want to miss the regular class. We are starting fully. We are preparing you guys to really make great success come November by God's grace. See you guys. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.